This is Josh White with JW Math Tutoring. Today's video, I'm going to go through the 6 hardest problems from the September 2024 ACT Math section, Form H11. So let's go ahead and get right to it.
But life is a dream that calculus could never predict.
Just before I begin this video, going through these 6 hardest ACT problems from this test, I just want to mention a couple things. First, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, sign up for notifications. Second, the reason I'm only highlighting 6 problems from this test is because I've gotten hit with copyright strikes from the ACT when I published full reviews of completed official tests. So that's the reason why you only see 6 problems instead of the full 60, which I would love to do, full videos on. Lastly, if you're looking for more ACT practice work, please check out my Improve Your ACT Math Score course. You can find it on Udemy. You can find it also on Teachable. There are direct links to both courses in the description of this video below. And basically, this is a comprehensive overview of the math section on the ACT. It covers your common topics in algebra and geometry and probability and statistics, in addition to strategies like backsolving, picking numbers, process of elimination, estimation, drawing a picture, essentially in order to help you solve problems as quickly as possible. And it also includes an entire module on using the TI-84 graphing calculator to solve problems as well. Basically, it features over 10 hours of instructional video along those 5 different modules. So please do check that out. Anyways, here are the solutions to these 6 hardest problems. Next up, we have question number 28. So this is a word problem dealing with some unit conversions. And so we are told that the fuel tank has 16 gallons of fuel in it and it's 3/4 full. So excuse me, the fuel tank holds 16 gallons and it's 3/4 full. It doesn't have 16 gallons. The number of gallons it has in it is actually going to be basically 3/4 of 16, which is just going to be 12 gallons. Okay, so it's currently 12 gallons of fuel. He's 231 miles away from home, and his car travels 22 miles per gallon of fuel. So essentially, to find out how many gallons are left in his tank when he gets home, what we need to do is take the 231 miles and use the miles per gallon. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm just basically going to do what's called factor label method, where I just essentially do a unit conversion. So I'm taking the 231 miles. I want to see how many gallons of fuel that takes. So I take the 22 miles per gallon and I'm just going to match up the units so that the miles are on the bottom so they cancel out, and the per gallon, which is really 1 gallon, is on top. So the miles cancel out, and thus what you end up doing is 231 divided by 22. This comes out just to 10.5 gallons of fuel. So in other words, that's how much fuel it takes to drive this car the remaining 231 miles that he is away from home. So how much is going to be left when he gets home? Well, it's just 12 minus 10.5. There should be about 1.5 gallons of fuel left in the car when he gets home, which is letter F. And again, the last thing I just want to mention is some of these problems, they've started to see usually at least maybe one of these on the ACT exams, dealing with like fuel and miles per gallon and distance and all that stuff. Just treat it as essentially a unit conversion. So in other words, that's what I did here. I took the number of miles, which is 231, and then I multiplied and I set the 22 miles per gallon up in the multiplication such that miles had to be on the bottom to cancel out and gallons had to be on the top, because we were trying to find how many gallons it would take in order to drive the 231 miles. All right, next, let's take a look at question number 39. So with this problem, excuse me, you have a 6-digit integer which has 6 unique digits in it, and they want to know how many positive integers are there which contain all these digits. So the easiest way that I think to figure this problem out is using the slot method. Basically, you have 6 possible digits, right? How many choices do you have for the first digit? Well, it could be a 1, a 3, or 4, or 6, or 7, or an 8. So you have 6. How many choices do you have for the second digit? Well, whatever digit you used initially, you can't use that, and so you have the 5 other numbers. And it's going to go down basically, in the same fashion. It's going to end up being 6 factorial, or the number multiplies out to a 720. So the correct answer for this is letter C. Now, if you think about this in terms of permutations, if you've learned permutations, basically this is just going to be 6p6. All right, you have 6 digits to choose from, and you're choosing, 6 of them in order to make a number. So this is just equivalent to 6p6. It's basically how many ways can you arrange the 6 digits that you're given into a 6-digit number. Okay, so now we'll just go to the calculator just to show you how you can do this on the calculator. Okay, now it's automatically going to copy the last thing over here, so I'm just going to replace this with a 6, and then I will type the other 6 over here, and there we go, 6p6, just 720, and that's our answer. So correct answer again for this one is letter C. Now, question 43. Here you have a triangle. You're given all 3 side lengths and all 3 angles, and they want to know the area of this triangle. Now, they do give you this formula right here, 1/2 AB sine C. Of course, if you check out my math formulas to know worksheet, you would see this formula on it in the area of a triangle section on page 1. So, but this question, I would absolutely recommend you just draw a picture, because once you draw a picture, it's going to be very easy to figure it out. So again, just draw something like this. It doesn't need to be to scale. If it's not to scale, that's totally fine. So I'm going to label this 6.2 and this 10 and this longest side 14. Okay. Now, all you have to know is that, of course, the smallest angle measurement will be across from the smallest side. So right here, we'd have 23. And the largest angle measurement will be across from the largest side. And then the middle angle measurement would be across from basically the middle side. So a triangle should look something like this. Now, to figure out the answer, there's basically, 3 different ways you could do this. So if you want to do it, let's see here. Which way did I do it? I think I chose these 2 sides and this angle up here. So I said 1/2 times 10 times 6.2, and then the sine of 118. They already give that to you. You don't even need to, to figure that out or to do that on the calculator. So you just go through, you multiply all these numbers together, you should get 27.28, and of course that just rounds to 27. So the correct answer for this one will be letter B. And just to show you real quick, let's say you wanted to do this side and the longest side of 14, and then times the sine of 23, which is 0.39. So we'll just go to back to the calculator. 1/2, we'll just use 0.5 times 10 times 14, and then again, we already know the sine of the 23-degree angle. Here we get 27.3. Again, it just, is going to be rounded off to 27. So again, correct answer is just letter B. Next up, I'd like to take a look at another unit conversion problem, this one dealing with distance and rate and time. It's number 51. So we have a distance of 100 feet. And we have a rate or speed of 45 miles per hour, technically per 1 hour. And we want to know, basically they want to know how many seconds will it take this car to travel this distance. So the reason this one is a little bit complicated is because the rate is miles per hour, but the distance is feet. The speed they want to be measured in seconds, but again, the rate is in miles per hour. So what I did is I first took the 45 miles per hour and I converted that to feet per second because those are what we want the ultimate answer to be in. I mean, the answer is going to be seconds, but we need it to also be in feet per second because of the 100 feet. So now what we could do is we could say, okay, 1 hour is 60 minutes, and then 1 minute is 60 seconds. Now, if you know that 1 hour is 3,600 seconds, you could just put that and just multiply by one fraction instead of two, like I did here. So that's totally fine. And then we have to convert the 1 mile to 5,280 feet, given in the problem right here. All right, so we go ahead, we multiply this all out. Notice what you're going to have on top is basically 45 times 5280. And on the bottom, you're just going to have 60 times 60. So it comes out nicely to 66 feet per second. So now, again, if you think back to rate times the time equals distance, or if you rearrange this, time is equal to distance divided by rate. So you take 100 feet and you divide it by 6 feet per second. The feet are going to cancel out. And you're going to get, sorry, not 6, 66 feet per second. You are going to get 1.51. Just confirm that on the graphing calculator. 100 divided by, we can just copy the answer down, even though if you type, yeah, 1.5151, essentially repeating. So this is the number of seconds, and of course it would just round to 1.5. Correct answer for this is going to be letter B. Now, just to show you also, you could do a unit conversion here for the last step. So in other words, you could take 100 feet, and then you could essentially multiply by 66 feet per second. So on the top goes 1 second. So if you want to think about it this way instead of the actual equation, that's totally fine. Again, you're trying to get seconds as an answer, so you need seconds on top, and you're trying to cancel out feet. So since you're starting with 100 feet, you need to have feet in the denominator to cancel it out. And notice again, we get the same thing. It's 100 divided by 66. So we're going to get the same answer. Okay, so that's just an alternate way, basically, to do the last step of the problem. All right, next up, number 55. Here we have a pentagon, and we want to find the length of CE, this side right here. What do we know? We know that the height of CDE from D to C, okay, so right here, this is 4. And we know BC and AE are 15. Those are each given. It's drawn here on the side, but whatever, I'll just add it in the middle. And we also know the total area of this pentagon, so the rectangle and the triangle together. So how can we find CE? All right, so we know the area of I'm just going to use this abbreviated shape for the pentagon, is going to be equal to the rectangle's area, basically area of rectangle plus area of triangle. Well, the area of the rectangle is just 15 times its width, which is CE. The area of the triangle is 1/2 times the base, which is CE, times the height, which is 4. And again, we know this whole thing is equal to 200. So now you have 15 CE plus 1/2 times 4 is 2. 2 CE equals 200. Get 17 CE equals 200. And then you also just divide by 17. CE equals 200 divided by 17. That should work out to approximately 11.76, which of course would round up to 11.8. So the correct answer here is letter C. Now, you could also do this one using kind of like the back-solving method. I mean, you still need to think through, meaning you don't need to solve the equation, but you still need to think through it and know that basically pick a value for CE, and then you have to know that 15 times that value plus 1/2 times that value times 4 is going to equal 200. So obviously it might not work out to be exactly 200 again because it's rounding and it says which is the closest in length. But let's get an example here. So you start off with 15 times 11.8 and then plus 1/2 times the 11.8 plus times 4. So notice it's 200.6, right? Very, very close, so it's probably the correct answer. Now, if you wanted to check, we could just change this 11.8 to 11.3 just to make sure that, if we go for a slightly lower value, we'll see, is it any closer to 200? Okay, now, no, it's not. It's down at 192.1, which is, much further away. So again, you could do this using back solving just by plugging in the answer choices. And if you started in the middle at C, you would find that that is the correct one right away. All right, next let's look at problem number 59, where you have a trigonometric equation here with cosine function. And they want to know what are the real solutions to this problem. So first I will show you the kind of, I guess, be the traditional way to solve this, and then I will show you the back solving method. So the traditional way would be to take each factor, just set them equal to 0 and solve. So 2 cosine x equals -1, cosine x equals -1/2. Okay, the other one is going to be cosine x -1 equals 0, add 1 to both sides, cosine x equals 1. Okay, now at this point, you either need to, either be familiar with the unit circle or know how to draw a right triangle to figure it out, or have your tables memorized, your special angles, or you can, let's see if we go to the calculator what it's going to give us. So here, if I do x is going to be the inverse cosine of 1. Let me just make sure I'm in degree mode here. I am? Okay. So let's do the inverse cosine of 1. Okay, so it gives me 0, which is correct. Basically, it's 0 degrees. So right off the bat, I know it has to be C, D, or E. Now for the other one, I don't know if it's going to give us the correct answer, but let's see. Oh, it does give us the correct answer. So even if you don't know, even if you don't have the unit circle memorized or know your special angle formulas or whatever, you can just go straight to the calculator and you can get 120. So the correct answer for this one is going to be letter A. Now, you could also do this one on the calculator using back solving. So even if you didn't know these steps, even if you have not learned how to solve trig equations, a lot of equations on the ACT you can still solve using a calculator in the process of back solving. So here's how you would do it. I would start with, and it's going to take, it's going to take a little work because there's technically 2 different values to check and you have 2 different functions to check them in. So, or actually, no, we could do them all. Actually, I just realized we could do them all together. So let's do this. So let's do 2 cosine of 0 plus 1 cos 0 minus 1. Okay, so I typed in the whole left side, but I replaced the x with 0. Now when I hit enter, Does that give me 0? It does. So that tells me that 0 is one of the correct answers, and it basically eliminates all three of these right off the bat. Now, I can just confirm also that I'll just confirm that one of them doesn't work. Like say I put in here 30 instead of 0. Notice it gives me some random decimal. That's not equal to 0. So that just confirms 30 is not a correct answer. So then at this point, what you would have to do is just pick either 120 or 150 to plug in. So I'm going to do that 120. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Either it works and you have the correct answer, or it doesn't work and you have the incorrect answer. So the other one is correct by process of elimination. So again, now I've changed it to its cosine 20 for everything, hit enter, and it gives me 0, and that just confirms it's letter A. So again, this one could be done entirely by back solving, even if you have never solved a trigonometric equation in your life. You just need to know how to type cosine on the calculator. You need to make sure you're in degree mode, and you can just go through the answer choices, plug in one of the angle measures at a time to the full expression on the left side, hit enter, and see, does it equal 0? If you enjoyed this video, if you have any questions or comments on these problems, please do leave them below. Otherwise, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and sign up for notifications. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, check out my Improve Your ACT Math Score course if you're looking for more resources to help raise that ACT math score of yours.